What you are about to hear is highly classified. Pay attention and listen at all times. And most importantly, remember, grown men don't bite their lip when they cry. A bold new direction for a film may be a good thing. And Star Trek no longer has the monopoly on green and blue women. Ladies and gentlemen, you are now entering Zone 4. And welcome back to the Zone. Once again, I'm Brant Fowler.
For the second time this evening, I'm John Wilson.
And I guess for the first time this evening, I'm Chris Ventura.
And for anybody who forgot, I'm Captain Ron Fortier. And hey, welcome to Zone 4, episode 257, rolling right along. Hey, I'm personally glad to be here after my little sabbatical. I pass along to you guys. The last couple of shows have been a lot of fun. You guys have really, maintained a banner, if you will. Although I got to say, last week's Valentine's show, I mean, there was enough sugar in there to give me diabetes, for Pete's sake. So just bromance.
There was a lot of love in that show.
There was a lot of love.
I got a couple of cavities from it.
Hey, it started off with murder. We had to get sweeter.
Yeah.
Yes,
It was a sweet, sweet murder.
But it's definitely good to have you back, Ron.
Oh, hey, a lot of cool things going on, and always glad to be back. I was checking out the agenda you sent, and some cool topics to talk about, and some not so cool. But hey, before we even go there, it's ironic that I'm the guy from Colorado and I'm back on this show, as people will find out in a few minutes.
Zone 4 is a proud member of the Comics Podcast Network. You can find us each and every Friday on comicspodcasts.com. And you can find Hall of Toys there as well every month. So please check out comicspodcasts.com and all the great shows that they have available.
We have a sponsor, right, Grant?
We do indeed.
Sponsor of the week.
And of course our sponsor once again is audible.com. If you go to audibletrial.com/zone4podcast, you can get a 30-day free trial and a free book download, and using that link helps the show out. So please, if you're going to sign up for Audible, go through that particular link, and that will be in the show notes, of course. And you can find all kinds of books on Audible, over 150,000 titles, including classics like The Last of the Mohicans, Moby Dick. All you teenagers need your book reports done, you can just listen to Audible book. And John, you have some suggestions too, don't you?
Well, my classics went a little askew here, actually.
Okay.
I started out looking for classics, but then I got sidetracked. Because a classic to me would be like Winnie the Pooh.
Okay. And Tigger too.
And Tigger too. To make it even better, though, a lot of the classic Winnie the Poohs here are narrated by Stephen Fry.
Nice.
So definitely go check those out. He also does other classics like Oscar Wilde and Anton Chekhov and other things like that. But just imagine the dulcet tones of Stephen Fry reading you Winnie the Pooh and The House at Pooh Corner. Or even... That's right. Even A Bear Called Paddington.
I love Paddington.
I know you do.
He likes marmalade.
He likes the marmalade. And if you're a little more on the other side of life, you can even get Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, also read by Mr. Stephen Fry.
Nice.
So definitely go check all those out at audible.com.
Yeah. Very cool.
There you go. Yeah.
That's definitely
and another new one for Gordon.
Oh, always
narrated by Sylvester McCoy and Stephen Fry.
Oh.
Death Comes to Time, one of the early episodes.
Nice.
Right.
I thought so.
Yeah. There you go. Covering all our bases there. Some great stuff at Audible. Definitely. It's a service that we all highly recommend week in and week out these days.
Yes,
and
we do.
I haven't tooted my own horn about this at all, but I have 2 books up at Audible, so please,
Yeah.
Captain Hazard, Python Men of the Lost City, and Witchfire. which I co-wrote with the late Arden Mayer, and both available at Audible. And I've gotten some really, really nice feedback from the folks who've downloaded those books. So thank you very much for that.
Sweet. So you can support both Zone 4 and Captain Ron.
There you go.
Indeed.
Yes.
And as Chris said before the show, which I think Audible should adopt, and we should get money for it.
Yes.
Why read a book yourself when you can have someone read it to you?
There you go.
That should be their banner right on their
I think so.
It's
We
fine.
read for you.
I
But
read.
you
It's not an
can
interesting
just sit back, light up the old pipe, have a brandy, and listen.
Yeah.
Indeed.
That's what's gonna happen one day in the future. There won't be books. There'll be little audio square thingies.
I mean, John, don't you get that image of Masterpiece Theater,
Exactly. With a smoking jacket on.
Yeah, right.
Which is extremely unhealthy to wear, by the way. But with your smoking jacket on, your pipe, your faithful basset hound laying at your feet.
Yeah, and the butler comes in with the sherry.
And the
Good
butler comes in
evening,
with the
sir.
sherry.
What are we listening to this evening?
It's funny
Yes,
because
sir.
it's funny because Chris did a promo for. He did a promo
You're
for.
really gonna go there.
I
Brad.
am. He did a promo for a thing we're doing on Comic Frontline called Media Madness, where we watch movies together and comment on them.
Uh-oh.
In this promo, he's standing there with glasses on and a pipe and saying that he's going to bring sophistication.
That was my grandfather's pipe.
Yeah.
Oh.
Of course,
Chris
this
is
is
bringing sophistication.
Yeah, this is all before he takes the glasses off, turns to the camera, and shakes his head, says, "I'm crazy," and looks like John Belushi. But yeah.
Hey, John Belushi was a good man.
Yes, he was. Total.
Indeed, but not exactly sophisticated.
I never said I was sophisticated.
No, he just said he was going to bring sophistication. He didn't say who was bringing it.
Yeah, exactly. Brand's doing
Where
it.
exactly
Brand-
are you getting it from?
Oh, man. Yeah. Fun times. All right, so we do have a lot to talk about, so we should just jump into some comic book headlines.
Comic book headlines.
So,
I was just going to do that.
I know. So the first headline, I'm going to let you take the lead on this, Ron.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah,
Appreciate
well,
that.
I'm assuming being from the area, you probably have a little bit more knowledge of this whole thing. I just saw this morning as I was baking out the agenda for the show.
This whole brouhaha really isn't more than 48 hours old. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it was like 2 nights ago I got online and a friend of mine from Denver got a hold of me and said, have you seen this? And sent me the link.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who haven't heard what's going on, I'll give you a little bit of a boil it down real quick. The Denver Comic Con was created. Well, it had its beginning over 7 years ago with 2 gentlemen, one Charles LaGreca and Charlie, and Frank Romero. And what they had done here in the Denver area is started a program called Comic Book Classroom, where they were getting involved with local school programs throughout the Colorado area and centered around Denver, of bringing comic books and comic literature into classrooms to help, middle grade, elementary school kids with reading difficulties or whatever, just a way to augment the reading programs in the local public schools in the area. And this program is highly successful. It's been in dozens of schools. It's gotten awards, I believe, and whatnot. And the concept with Charlie and Frank and all their friends in the Colorado area, this is even prior to my moving here, like 3.5 years ago, was, wouldn't it be cool to launch, this huge Denver Comic Con to rival New York, Chicago, even to the point of San Diego. And so they started doing that. They got a lot of people involved. They got a lot of creators, local creators, and they started building, researching, whatever, the Denver Comic Con, which they launched over 2 years ago. And one of the elements obviously was the realization that 2 guys can't put on this kind of a giant con. So they established a board of directors. board of directors gets together, and if any of you have ever been involved with any kind of an organization, you understand immediately that there are rules, constitutions are written up, bylaws, all this good stuff. So they get a bunch of people together, they get a board, which they're both a part of, and one of the things that they established was that the Denver Comic Con would be a non-profit organization. Now, before, anybody else can go, how can that be non-profit when they collect money from, people that attend, and they do end up with a surplus of money? Well, the intention was, and it's supposedly in the bylaws of the organization, is that any monies accrued from the Denver Comic Con go immediately into the comic book classroom program. Mm-hmm. Okay? So it now becomes a public thing. It is given back to the community. It's given back to public schools. So it is legitimately a nonprofit organization. So 2 years ago, they launched a Comic-Con, and it's a huge success, a phenomenal success. Last year, they tripled their attendance. This thing went through the roof. It was amazing. All right, so con's over. They start planning for year number 3, which will be, this coming summer. Well, as my recollection goes, about almost a month and a half ago, a letter went out digitally from the Denver Comic Con organization. In that letter, there was some kind of mention of the fact that Frank Romero, again now one of the co-founders, had resigned from the board of directors. And then there was another statement saying that Charlie LaGreca was no longer involved. But not to worry, because the board had everything in hand, and they were going forward, and they were lining up guests for this year, and looking at bringing back, people from last year, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be a bigger show. And I even personally run into some of these people in the last 6 months at various, smaller conventions throughout the area. And they had their tables set up for the organization and promoting the Denver Comic Con and et cetera, et cetera. Everything's going to be great. Until 2 nights ago, Charlie posts across the internet a letter basically stating that he was kicked off of the board. He didn't resign. He didn't ask to leave. He was basically voted off what he had originally created. And that in the course of that happening, he supposedly states in his letter, which is public, it's online, that the board has gone astray from their intended purpose, that in the months since the last convention last summer, there have been no funds funneled into the comic book classroom program. None whatsoever. That's what he attests. And says, in fact, to the point, claims there are missing funds from what was collected last year.
Wow.
Okay. So that goes out one day. The following day, last night, the board of directors of the Denver Comic Con posted a rebuttal online, which they obviously refuted everything that Charlie LaGreca said. That they have been continuing the program, that there is no loss of funds, that he's mistaken, that he wasn't arbitrarily pushed off the board, yada, yada, yada. So basically, here we are now with 2 totally different stories. This is going to continue into the weekend because LaGreca has started a web page called Save the Denver Comic Con, which obviously has upset the people at the board, whose claim it doesn't need any saving. And this coming Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock at a rented hall in downtown Denver, he is going to have an open public forum, town meeting, if you will, where he's invited the board, all board members to come, all interested parties, and the public at large to come and to hear, all sides of this issue. In his original statements, he's made claims that he's tried on several occasions to get a hold of the board, to have them meet with him and other parties to straighten out what he hoped was just some miscommunications. He does claim they've rebuffed any of these advances to the point where they've actually stuck a lawyer on him. Basically, charging him with harassing the board, et cetera, making false claims, and yada, yada, yada. So right now, that's where we're left. That's basically the issue. If you're a native of the area, if you've been to the con, you liked it, it's going to be very easy for you to go online and find the Denver Comic Con people and their statement, and as well to go find Save the Denver Comic Con and read, Charlie's statement. Obviously, it's you read this and it really breaks your heart, guys, okay? Because after 2 years of two amazing shows, for this to happen, and already I'm watching a lot of local creators here in the Colorado area befuddled, confused, and ultimately, as you can expect, people are going to start taking sides. Mm-hmm. Okay? People are going to either side with Greca or they're going to side with the board. There's going to be name pointing and calling. I mean, personally, my own feelings, I wish the board would just get together with Charlie, all right, privately, and whatever is going on, work it out.
Right.
But the fact that Charlie went public tells me that he can't do that anymore, that they're not willing to go that step. And if they're not, then the name calling and pointing and accusations, this may even end up in court. Who knows?
Yeah.
But my sense is it's going to get a whole lot uglier before it gets resolved. And that's what's going on here in good old Colorado.
That's crazy.
That's what happens when money becomes a thing.
You know?
When it was just a con, when it was just this, for charity con, let's, fix up the barn and put on a show sort of thing, mm-hmm. Everyone was cool. But when it blew up and there was real money involved, look what happens.
Yeah.
That's it. And I agree with you wholeheartedly, John. That's my entire sense of all this, okay? Is that it's become other than a fun thing now, and other than a personal thing with a bunch of comic book geeks and nerds. It's become a business. And so obviously some of the people on the board of directors look at it solely as that. So that now you have two totally different perspectives on what this should be or shouldn't be. And that's when it, like I said, that's when it gets ugly. All right, if it's business and people are seeing money to be made, then that's a temptation that is very powerful.
Yeah. This one statement that I saw, it was allegedly up to $300,000 in revenues that are unaccounted for.
That's what he says. He says that, right. That's his claim, that they're unaccounted for. Whereas, like I said, in their statement, the board refuted that.
Right.
And see, that's what gets me, because the board, in their response, literally states 5 or 6 different schools where the program has continued. Yeah. Where, again, Charlie says it hasn't. So, like I said, there's a lot of finger pointing. There's a lot of accusations going back and forth. And, I know writers and artists here in the area who are already starting to, take sides or whatever, if you will. Or, nobody wants the con to go away.
Yeah.
That's the big concern right now. All right? I mean, you're writing this huge success. And everybody wants the con to continue. Everybody wants it to be here for the state, for comic fans in this general area, because it's been a great thing for everybody, for the economy, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But here we are, 2 years into it, and the reality of human nature, John, it just rears its head, its ugly head. It's like, sometimes I tell people, and they look at me kind of weird, but no fooling, I like little cons. Okay.
Yeah.
I like little cons.
It's that, and it's the friends thing too. You have to be really, really careful when working with quote unquote friends.
Yeah.
This is a personal thing to me, take or leave it as you wish, but I have levels of friends. I don't have necessarily different words for them, but I have levels of friends. There are friends that I would trust with my life, and that I know nothing would ever become between that friendship. And there are friends that I like and know and maybe would not so much trust with my life. I might trust them with a sandwich or something, or I might trust them with my car, but I wouldn't necessarily trust them with my life. And, I hate, all joking aside, I hate to say it, I've seen it happen before. It's happened to me that, when you start getting into business with friends, and when the business becomes the stronger Oedipus than the friendship,
Yeah.
that's when you really get into trouble.
Yeah.
So, you have to be supremely careful about working with quote-unquote friends because, I've lost friendships over it, or there's people who I will smile at their face, but inside my head I'm, calling them a variety of names because, they've essentially screwed me in one way or another. And,
It's not my fault we got stuck in Mexico. I'm sorry, John. Jeez. You're never going to let me get that down.
Hey. No, I won't. Just because you had to have that Mexican crib for your child.
Couldn't help it. It was nice.
Remember I told you guys, left at Albuquerque, not right.
Left at Albuquerque. He was in front. He was the one digging.
Told you not.
Yeah, but and then you get that a lot in Charlie's statement, much more so than from the board, because the board is a unified front. That's what they're doing. They're working together. But Charlie's hurt. Charlie's hurt. He feels betrayed by people.
Sure. Yeah.
I always get a little shaky when there's a board.
Yeah.
Whenever there's a board, then that pushes it a lot further towards business, even if it's a quote-unquote nonprofit.
Right.
That pushes it a lot more in the business area, and I can tell you from a little bit of experience of trying to put a charity con together, dealing with a board doesn't work. You really need to have one or maybe two big decision makers.
Right.
And then you inform the board what happens. Yeah. One is best. Two, it helps if you're married. But
yes, dear. Whatever you like, dear.
Yes, exactly. Then you tell the board what's going on, not the other way around.
Right.
Because anytime there's a board, you've got too many people singing different songs.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work.
Yep. Too many chefs in the kitchen.
Indeed,
yeah. So anyways, that's where we're at. Like I said, I'm going to be really intrigued to see what happens this weekend and what kind of a turnout this little town hall meeting that Charlie has, inaugurated Sunday afternoon, how successful that is, how much attendance that pulls in. He's a great guy. He's well known throughout the state and the comic community here in the area, not just the state. I would assume he's going to have a huge turnout of supporters there, and I'll keep you guys posted. What I hear and what I get back, I'll pass along.
Awesome. Cool. So, we'll, like you said, we'll try to stay on top of this and report back. So,
yep.
On to some brighter news.
Yay!
Caliber Comics, which was big, was it in the 90s? Early 90s?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was huge in the 90s.
Yeah, it was huge in the 90s. It was the first published work of Brian Michael Bendis, if I'm not mistaken.
So it's their fault.
Yeah, and various others. But Caliber Comics will be returning, or is returned. And they're kind of absorbing Transfusion Publishing, which is Gary Reed's.
With Bendis?
No.
No. A lot of these folks have moved on to bigger and better things. It was kind of a who's who of the early 90s names that have become kind of the big names in comics now.
Yeah.
I work for him.
Oh, yeah? So Ron Fortier, big name there.
Yeah, exactly.
But, a
lot of people we know have worked for them, so.
Yeah.
James O'Barr, the Crow, perhaps the most popular thing that came out of Cal.
Yeah. David Mack, Michael Allred, Ed Brubaker. Various others.
Joe Pruitt. The list is endless. A lot of top, professional writers and artists got this started at Caliber, and that's all due to Gary Reed. Gary Reed at the time owned comic shops, and is a very common thing. Like our friend Chuck Moore and other people, in the early '90s, decided to start an independent comic line, black and white comic line, and that was Caliber Comics. And for almost a decade, it's like we're saying, it produced some of the finest, most original stuff out there in the independent market. And really, really happy to see it come back like that. I mean, he tried it with transfusions, but I think the point was a lot of people realized that, look, Gary, if you get back in the comics, just call it Caliber, okay? It's got such a storied, honored name. Why do you keep calling it transfusions? It was muddying the water, if you will. So seeing this news release, so seeing the news release this week, I went, hallelujah, great! It's Caliber, there you go.
Yeah, I would buy something called that over transfusion. I think transfusion, I'd be like,
Well, speaking of somebody that did a little work for transfusion, I love transfusion. But no, Caliber, it definitely has that iconic traditional name, and it's got all that star power behind it. People know that name.
So it's going to be like Valiant when they Valiant relaunched. It's going to be like that. They're going to
be doing more creator-owned stuff as opposed to a unified universe or anything like that.
I like that. That's awesome.
Gary's impetus was always to find new talent, to do new things, and that's what the Caliber brand means. So for all of us who like original comics and different things, and that's why we're happy to see it back.
And I also
unlike the people involved in the last story we were talking about, Gary Reed is a truly stand-up guy.
Oh yeah,
Amen.
Gary Reed is a great guy, and you can see why all these people got their start there and went on to such major success, because I think a lot of it's because of Gary. And, I kind of know Gary through Blue Line Pro and Skystorm Publishing and those guys. Mm-hmm. And, just first time I met him was just, personable and spoke to me like, I was somebody. And I was nobody at the time. I'm still nobody, but I'm a slightly more famous nobody now. But, spoke to me at the time like, I was someone of note, and I've always really appreciated that.
Yeah, he's a very humble, down-to-earth guy. Yeah.
I mean, I know for a fact that over the years, Gary has put his neck on the line for a lot of creators. He's put his neck on the line for a lot of projects and lost a lot of money. Okay, that he's a man. When he gives you his word, he's true to it. And the thing, my one association with him was my own creator-owned action adventure series, the Boston Bombers. Mm-hmm. And just to show you what a different kind of guy Gary really is, I'd gotten a hold of him when I put the project together, and what I'd done was written the whole thing out. And I was working it now, I was doing Green Hornet now and Terminator, but I had this ridiculously bizarre oddball project, and I showed it to my den agent, who said, "Dear God, nobody's going to buy this. It's too weird." And I immediately thought, "Oh, all right, Gary Reed." So I sent Gary the first script with a letter of inquiry out of the blue. We had met once in San Diego just to shake hands and talk for a little bit. And because I was a huge Crow fan. So anyways, I sent him the first script and what the whole concept was about. It was this 5-issue miniseries. And here's what I'm trying to tell you guys. No single piece of art. I had no artist attached to any of this. I mean, you realize what an uphill climb that is in this business? Mm-hmm. But, it was Cal, it was Gary Reed. Well, the next thing you know, I get a call from him 2 days after he got my script. And he goes, "Hey, Ron," he goes, "You say you wrote all of this? They're all done?" I said, "Yeah, I get the other 4 scripts." "Well, send them to me." I said, "Okay." I package up the other 4. I send them to him, right? A couple days later, he calls up and goes, "I'm going to find you an art team. We're going to publish this. It's a great story." Nice. And he did. And that's what he did. That's Gary Reed. He's amazing. He's absolutely great. He loves fresh ideas. He's,
I need to contact this Gary Reed.
You do.
I have several fresh ideas.
There you go. He's the man who'll listen. When he says, I want fresh ideas, unlike DC and Marvel, who give that lip service, and then when you give them fresh ideas, they don't know what the hell to do with it.
Except relaunch and renumber.
Right. And there you go, right. And that's Caliber. I mean, we can go on and on. They did, at the height of their popularity, they had a monthly anthology book called Caliber Presents, which was phenomenal. Oh, the stories in that thing were amazing. Absolutely.
I think it's also interesting that he's partnered up with Eric Reichardt, who's the president of Eagle One Media. And Eagle One Media has been doing a lot of interesting things over the past few years, too.
Yep.
So, a lot of animated stuff, if I'm not mistaken. So.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah, so very interesting.
I wish him tons of success, no matter what.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. The comic world's a lot better for Caliber being back in.
Yeah, and to throw Gary one more plug out there, his Dead World Restoration is currently being published at IDW. I think the third issue came out about 2-3 weeks ago.
All right.
All right.
You better hold on to him tight, IDW, because he'll take that with him.
Yeah. All right, so in other news, did you guys get a chance to see, I know Chris did you guys get a chance to see the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer?
At least 8 times.
I love the music.
Nice.
I happen to have it on my notes, sorry.
Yeah, all right, that's enough before we get
I'm
started.
trying. Oh, stop. Stop.
Oh, shoot.
Got it. I got it all.
But yeah, that was a great scene with the 80s Walkman headphones.
Yeah.
I was
amazed. Hey, I had absolutely no preconceived idea. I remember the series fondly when it was created, and I was a huge Rocket Raccoon fan. But that was it. I haven't followed any new stuff or whatever. So, even to the point in the news of they were going to do the film and their whole logic behind going into out the Marvel universe and all this. So, it was one of those cases where even when they started, casting, and I'm nodding, go, that's good, that's cool. Bradley Cooper's Rock, all that. But it was a case of, okay, well, let's wait for the trailer and we'll go from there. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I'm hooked. I'm hook, line, and sinker. That trailer did it. There is no way I'm not going to be in line to see that film. It just cracked me up. Again, the perfect tone for this thing.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
That's what everybody's saying, yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to a few people online about it, and, I was mentioning that, the normals, the people who don't read comics or generally go to comic movies or whatever, aren't going to know who the heck these guys are.
Mm-hmm.
But funny and blowing crap up always puts butts in seats.
Yeah, there you go.
and
they couldn't pick a better guy than John C. Reilly.
That's what I was about to say, yeah.
He's so deadpan, right? Yeah, he calls him, he's the Star-Lord. Who calls him that? He does.
Yeah, mostly. Yeah.
I love the way that all started out, though. He's like, I'm Star-Lord. Who? Yeah. Oh, come on, man.
Star-Lord, man.
And look, hey, kudos to Marvel because this thing only came out yesterday, and people are going crazy over it. But again, we die laughing about this. The nitpickers are already up. Well, there's not enough Rocket. There's not enough Groot. All right, so
by the music.
So Marvel goes out and puts out those little 2 clips today and puts them online.
Yeah. Did you see those, Chris?
No, I did not.
Yeah, they put out featurettes of Rocket, Groot, and Gamora, I think.
Yeah, Gamora's out. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to check it. Comic related, Chris.
Yeah. You do get a little clip of Rocket's voice in action. So
All say "boom, you're dead" or "bang, you're dead."
No, I can't remember exactly what he says. He's in prison at the time. He's basically saying, we're rolling this joint kind of thing.
Exactly.
On the Gamora one, you get like a half a second of her fighting Nebula.
Nice.
Ooh.
You get to see like her throw a punch and Nebula kind of ducks under it and stuff. So.
Yeah, and there's a clip of Vin Diesel talking about Groot and how cool it is. And oh man, this film has fun. plastered all over.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that's a smart way to go.
Definitely a smart way to go.
I think Kat's the only one that actually gave a kind of negative review, but it was because there wasn't enough about the story. It was more along the lines of like a bio for all the characters.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically, like we said, it was showing the tone, showing some of the characters. I think the second trailer, they're going to show us a little bit more of the action elements of it.
Yeah.
Well, they'll show tons of action, but Chris, who needs a plot?
That's what I'm saying. It looked good from where it was, in my opinion. So many people are like, it looks stupid, it shouldn't be funny, it should be serious. I'm like, that's not the Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, John's right. Humor and blow things up. There's your plot.
Absolutely.
I saw a comment from a good friend of mine, and no offense if you're listening to this, but he said somebody said it was like Firefly. That didn't help. And I was like, what? That helped me tremendously.
Completely. It's Iron Man meets Firefly, if that helps anybody.
There you go.
You know? Because it's funny, it's humorous, it's tongue-in-cheek.
Oh, totally.
But it's, outlaws in space.
Right, exactly.
And the Infinity Gems. From what I hear, there's going to be an Infinity Gem.
Yeah,
normal people don't know what the hell an Infinity Gem is.
Good point, yes.
And that's why I was thinking this thing with the bios was perfect.
Right. It is.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
In 1 or 2 seconds, you get all you need to know about these guys.
Yeah.
Right.
With Star-Lord kind of cranking up his middle finger.
Yes!
I don't know how the machine works.
Well, again, the clip, right? Riley goes, you believe they call themselves the Guardians of the Galaxy? Yeah, exactly. And the guy behind him goes, it's just a bunch of assholes.
Yeah. And you see Quill standing there yawning.
Yeah. I love that
tells
that's
you everything.
Yeah, I love that that's the Nova Corps too that has them in prison.
Yeah, for people who didn't get it, that is a Nova.
Yeah, that's the Nova Corps. John C. Reilly, the head of the Nova Corps. That's just hilarious.
Yeah, they mentioned Xandar in there too. They were all picked up on Xandar. So
yeah. And I think if IMDb is correct, I think Yondu, who was I believe on the original Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, he was on the Charlie 27.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's going to be in this movie. So that's kind of cool too.
Somebody actually was doing a frame by frame of it, and when they give you Rocket's bio, like when they're doing his scan, they mention his partner, and it pays homage to an older comic where he had a partner that was, I believe, a ferret or something like that, a woman. Yeah, and it actually was part of the bio, and I thought that was cool that they actually took the history of the characters and tried to sprinkle it in there a little bit.
Yeah.
Even though probably nobody got it.
He's from a planet where the humans are all part of an insane asylum, and all the animals were genetically engineered to be companions and guards for all the crazy people.
Yeah.
I mean, I only know what, the official guide in the Marvel Universe tells me. But that's my bathroom reading.
There you go.
If anybody wants to know. But, he comes from that and then eventually hooked up with, this crowd.
Nice.
I have a feeling we're going to get a Rocket Raccoon ongoing series after Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know why, but it feels it.
It's a lot of money to anthropomorphize that thing.
Oh, yeah. But I don't know. When the Avengers came out, there was a million Avengers things. Now Guardians are coming out. Everybody's in space.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, in
There'll
Marvel,
be a cartoon, I'm sure of it. But
yeah, in Marvel, all kinds of characters in the comics. I mean, they're going to space and stuff. Cyclops is going to be in space now with the Starjammers. So yeah, they're really capitalizing on this. Yeah, so. But
Shall we go to the bad Marvel news now?
I don't know that it's bad, but we'll go to it.
I don't know that it's good.
Okay.
It's different, that's for sure.
It's definitely different.
Oh, no, I know what you're going to.
Yeah, the cast.
Not Jack Kirby's.
The cast for the Fantastic Four reboot movie has been announced. Now, some sites are saying that these actors are in the final stages of negotiations. Others are saying that it's done deal. So, I guess we'll wait until they put out an official statement, but this is basically the cast. We knew Michael B. Jordan, who was going to be the Human Torch. That's been talked about for a while. Friday Night Lights, Chronicle. Same director from Chronicle, which Ron and I talked about on the show before. So I don't mind that.
No.
Actually.
No way, no how.
So, Kate Mara, who is currently on House of Cards on Netflix, and she was on 24, American Horror Story, different things. She is going to be the Invisible Woman.
Yeah.
Fez, the one picture they have to put up with public relations, it's like my initial thought was, oh my God, she's perfect. I can almost see it through her right now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I was thinking. She looked anorexic.
And then we have Miles Teller as Reed Richards, which I really haven't seen too much of him, but every role I've seen him play, he's kind of like the obnoxious jerk of the group, so that's kind of odd. Yeah.
Too young.
Yeah, way too young.
Way too young.
Well,
Way too young. That casting, the two castings that really irked me was Teller as Reed Richards. Okay, I mean, unless they're gonna they're really gonna change everything around, all right, backgrounds or whatever. But we come into the origin story and everything, and Richards is this world-class scientist known the world over.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got this past, he's got experience, he's anything but a hipster college kid. All right, so
Well,
I mean, Teller just looks to me like a slacker. Okay, and then the other casting that you haven't alluded to yet, which throws me because
that one does throw me.
I think Jamie Bell is a damn fine actor.
Oh yeah.
But we know for a fact he's ultimately going to be all CGI anyways.
Right.
So why couldn't they get somebody with a built-in a physique to look like Ben Grimm, test pilot?
Yeah, this
Not the kid who goes, ballet dancing. God.
Not just that, but somebody with a voice.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
Jamie Bell, like you said, good actor, but if they're going to go full CG, why not give it somebody with a voice?
With gravitas.
With a commanding voice. Get
Clancy
Brown.
Yeah. Totally. Clancy Brown would be perfect.
Yeah.
Right. Get Clancy Brown. Get the Reanimator guy if he's still alive. I can't think of his name, but you have all these really good voice guys.
Right.
That they don't have to embody the thing. Now, even if they're going Ultimates, which seems to be the way they're going.
Yeah, because they were much younger. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, this kid is too young even for that version.
I mean, I find it ironic, that the one actor in this whole thing, that again because of what I've seen his past, is to be the smartest move, which was Michael Jordan as Johnny Storm. Yeah. I mean, he's such a gifted actor, and if anybody saw Chronicle, he can pull this off with his eyes closed, for Pete's sakes.
Yeah, he is. I wonder how they're going to make the connect. I mean,
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about
how they're going to make the connection between him and Mara.
Right.
They'll be cousins.
Do you think so? I mean, the only thing I've ever seen her on is interview shows, because I don't watch either one of the shows that she was on.
Well, she was on Heroes for 2 episodes.
Was she? Okay, well, the only time I've ever seen her is on Craig Ferguson, and she doesn't strike me quite Sue Stormish.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, she's a good actress, but...
Yeah, she's a good enough actress, but...
Yeah.
One very, very slight woman.
We're doing the same thing, guys. It's like, Val's not going to be there that long once the radiation zaps them. Mm-hmm. They're going to do CGI, okay? So now you're picking an actress who 80% of the movie will be invisible.
That's true.
That's the problem. I don't think she will be.
I don't see a lot of actresses vying for that role.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know that she's going to be invisible all that much.
I mean, I'm trying to stay optimistic about it. I want it to be good. I like the first 2 Fantastic Four movies. I know a lot of people didn't.
No, I like them too, actually.
I love them, actually. I own both of them, watched them multiple times.
Come on, confess it up there, Brand, okay? Yeah. Don't be ashamed.
Michael Chiklis perfect. Yeah, I agree with you, John.
Yeah, perfect size, perfect age.
Yep.
I mean, you could put white temples on this guy, and he's still just going to look like a kid with white temples. I mean, they just skewed way too young with this. I mean, Michael Jordan looks to be the oldest one in the grouping.
Right, he's
and
supposed
he's
to be
playing
their
the
kid's
kid.
brother.
I think
Right.
Jamie Bell is actually older than he looks, but
He'd have to be.
he's 27.
And I hope he's going to pull, Wonder Woman and go and bulk up and stuff. Because last time I saw Jamie Bell, he was not exactly impressing.
He's a pretty skinny guy, yeah. Michael B.
Physique,
Michael B. Jordan is also 27.
Yeah.
Kate
Mara is a little older, I think.
She's 30.
Yeah.
And Miles Teller is probably going to be the youngest.
12.
No, he's 27 too, so they're all...
Really? It doesn't look it.
Yeah, I know.
Are they all my age?
Well, see, you could have played... No.
Don't even go there. I would have never. Not in that movie.
He could play Ben Grimm with the accent.
But, I mean, I admire them trying to do a different direction and separate it from what came before, but at the same time, I'm just not sure. I need to see a trailer for this one before I can make any kind of judgment on it.
Right.
There is, I know, oh gosh, his name just jumped out of my head. Millar. I know Millar wants to be different and be apart from what Marvel people are doing, but there is such a thing as going too far afield.
True.
Even with the Ultimate stuff, there's still that core of this is what the Fantastic Four is.
Right. The thing
and
is,
I'm not seeing it with these guys.
Well,
go ahead.
I was going to say, Brand, we're talking, this is the same director who did direct Chronicles.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, if you guys aren't familiar with Chronicles, I mean, I really recommend you get, you see it on Netflix or rent it or whatever, because the concept with Chronicles, and you get it within 20 minutes of watching the show, is that they tried this super, super realistic approach to what would happen if a person got superpowers. Mm-hmm. And by the middle of the film, it's more a horror movie than anything else. Because you watch what happens to people's emotions and personalities. Those that are corrupted, those that it gets the best of, et cetera, so that when Brant and I were talking about Chronicles and how much we enjoyed that realism, all right, how startling it was that, maybe now you don't sit back and go, gee, maybe I wouldn't want those kind of powers,
Yeah.
It's not some, 12-year-old fanboy going, gee, I wish I could fly or whatever. So my thought being here is, if this guy can bring that same kind of realistic approach, I mean, again, keeping the fact what you just said is true, John, this is the Fantastic Four. Yeah. But I don't wonder if his choice for a cast is playing back to what he did with Chronicles and going to give us some elements of responsibility and believability tied together. I mean, we read the Fantastic Four, and, the typical, Silver Age of comics. Issue number 1 comes for normal people go in space, and within 2 pages land back on Earth and change into freaks.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. So that by the second issue, they're out fighting bad guys and they're superheroes.
Well,
we're so far removed from that kind of sensibility today, all right, that I think a new approach now is much more tuned to the emotional feedback that's going to happen to these characters when they become these other things. And that's that element of maybe even horror that needs to be included in a new interpretation. I could be all wet, but again, I think this director has that kind of ability to rein that in and not make it so much the fanboy film as something that we could all sit back and go, holy smokes, maybe that could happen, or would happen. The reaction to being altered and your life changed so drastically.
Yeah, definitely.
But that concept worries me slightly because, they were 4 normal people that went to space and came back fantastic. But the first thing that they dealt with pretty much was a, 20-foot tall monster.
Sure.
Yeah. So, so out of reality that you can't.
Right. Right.
You can't even click on it. So, and it kind of makes me think like Challengers of the Unknown too.
Mm.
the DC Fantastic Four, for better or worse. Four normal people, but they never had these normal adventures. They were always fighting these really outlandish, weird sort of characters. So my worry, if they go too realistic and we have, if he turns FF into some sort of horror movie, there will be people with torches outside his
That's
door.
true. I don't think they'll go that far with it.
Yeah,
but, yeah.
but my worry is if it becomes too much of an angst-filled film, too much of much of them lamenting and whining about their powers, that it's really not going to be the big franchise reboot that they wanted.
Yeah, I think the cool thing about Chronicle, which gives me a little bit of hope, is that there were three characters that were together that experienced this phenomenon. One of them kind of went crazy. Michael B. Jordan was the character that kept it together and just lived life. And then there was this other one, which I don't quite remember at all. But
was caught in the middle between the two.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and that right, and it was this trilogy of perception and reaction to what would happen, which was what made the film so damn entertaining.
Exactly. So that kind of gives me hope for this, where we might have four different reactions to the same thing, and kind of gel that together to where they come together and finally accept it and fight whatever evil that they're fighting in the movie. So.
Well, yeah, we haven't seen Dr. Doom yet, so we have to hold on. Because you can't do a Fantastic Four without Dr. Doom.
Never assume.
Well, they haven't yet.
They might mess with you.
Well, unless it's the Mole Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we go better off with Doom. Oh,
could be Galactus right out of the box or something.
There you go, right?
Oh, that would be funny. So yeah, we'll just
Cloud again.
Yeah, no, let's not go there either. But yeah, that's just something we're gonna have to wait and see. But it's definitely interesting. It's got people talking. So that's
what good PR does.
Mm-hmm.
That's what good PR does.
Yep.
Definitely.
So, speaking of more Marvel films and that side of things with Fox and everything, they did release a bunch of stills from X-Men Days of Future Past. Do you guys get a chance to look through some of these?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you sent us that second email, because I was, the first thing wasn't coming up right. I was sketching the movie trailer or whatever.
Yeah.
But when I got your second link, I pulled it back up specifically to see those. And, I didn't realize how many X-Men are going to be in this thing.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, well, the fanboy, I was tickled to see Colossus again.
Mm-hmm.
All right? I absolutely love Colossus. And what was his name? Who was the Indian? Thunderbird,
yeah.
Thunderbird.
Or was it Warpath? No, it was Thunderbird, yeah, you're right.
Thunderbird.
Yeah,
he's in one of those shots in the background.
Yeah. He dies early.
Yeah.
He doesn't. Oh, spoiler!
Warpath is his brother.
Yeah, Warpath.
Well, no, that's in the comics.
No, I know it is. I read it. The
Yeah.
point I'm saying is seeing somebody playing him in the photo, and I went, oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. The only one I'm iffy about still is Quicksilver, but that's...
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, Warpath still looks too Asian to me. Sunspot is still too white.
I'll tell you who looks great is...
Halle Berry needs to grow her hair.
I agree with that.
There are problems.
I do agree with that, but... John, help me with his name. Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage would be Bolivier Trask.
Yeah, he
how do you
looks...
say that name?
He looks great.
Oh, he's perfect.
Yeah. Bishop looks too. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Bishop looks cool. I would go see Dinklage read the phone book.
Yeah.
I'm behind Dinklage 1,000,000% in anything he does.
Yeah. And I think Magneto's outfit looks great in this. Yeah. So it's I don't know. I'm still kind of iffy about where they're going with this, but it looks fun.
Well, this is the exact opposite of what we saw with the first guys Galaxy Trail. Because think about it for a second, all right? Because pulling up these links, on a whim, after looking at the stills, I watched the trailer again, okay?
Mhm.
And by far, okay, that is by far the dullest trailer I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, there's nothing
All right?
fun.
They purposely don't put any action in it at all.
Mm-hmm.
No, oh, you have to save us. No.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, show something blowing up, show somebody being thrown through a window. Save us from what? Boredom? Yeah, all right.
Anything, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a very poorly cut together trailer, I agree.
Well, yeah, but I think it was done on purpose, too, Brian. I think they really didn't want to show any of the action of the Sentinels or anything,
What?
We see one or two of them in the background, some of the stills. But, boy, they're going to have to amp up that action to make this thing work.
True, and hopefully, I'm fingers crossed because I did like First Class. Hopefully, they're trying to hold back stuff so that they have some surprises and stuff. But we'll see.
Yeah.
When is this coming out? I don't even remember now. It's
in the future.
Yeah.
In the future.
Is it May? Yeah,
Sometime
May.
this
It is
year.
May 23rd.
Yeah.
So
what are we going to get? We're going to get Captain America and this?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
Wow.
And Guardians is this in August. So
Right.
you're getting all
our
three.
Guardians is in August. I am wondering why they have Mystique holding a squirt gun in one of these stills.
Well, no, it's a plastic gun.
Yeah, I know it's a plastic gun, but look at it. It looks like a squirt
Oh, no,
gun.
yeah, it looks like a squirt gun, but the logic is she went through a metal
Oh,
detector.
yeah, it's a plastic gun. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah,
That's obvious.
that makes sense now. All right, so the next news item is
page is short.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just came across that picture of her with Colossus and Sunspot and Iceman.
Yeah.
She is so tiny.
Yeah, she is.
They could have had her standing on the step or something.
And it's weird because she looks tall when
She does look tall normally.
but she's not. She's really not. So. Oh, that's funny. So, speaking of short women, Jada Pinkett Smith.
Oh.
Well, she is short. She's really short. Anyway.
Nice segue. Though.
Good
Thank you.
segue. Yep.
It was an awful segue, but whatever. Jada Pinkett Smith joins Gotham as a crime boss.
Next, Jaden Smith.
Don't steal my jokes.
Anyways,
I'm sorry, but it's not a joke.
That's
I'm
become the first announced character not
Yeah.
from the DC mythos.
Ridiculous.
And with a name like Fish Mooney?
Yeah.
What the hell is that supposed to mean?
Fish Mooney.
They better have a really good story for this.
This
They're not.
show just sounds worse and worse the more I hear about it. And it's got me very worried.
I mean, if she was like a henchwoman for Penguin, maybe then I would get to like Fish Mooney thing.
Yeah.
She's supposed to be like a
for her.
contemporary crime boss, yeah.
He works for her.
Or
Oswald
he
Cobblepot is working
True.
for her.
Wow.
Makes no sense, yeah.
That's not good. I don't mind her.
Unless she's this, devilish, evil crime boss.
Yeah.
It's
going to be hard to pull off. It kind of makes me once again harken back to the comics.
Mm-hmm.
And, like Black Lightning and his main villain, Tobias Whale. This big, fat, albino white guy, he's a whale. So, essentially. So, Fish Mooney, unless she swims really well, or something, there better be a real good reason for this name. Because otherwise it's just sort of,
well, it could
people
be
can
Joe.
make a really bad joke.
See, that's my thing, John. I'm reminded of Godfather. Okay, if you cross her, you sleep with the fishes.
Yeah, maybe. You can make a couple of really bad, insensitive jokes. So I hope that there's really good reason.
It could be the nickname Fish. It could be she's like something else Mooney or something. We just don't know.
Should have put it in parentheses.
They should have, but But I don't mind her. But like Chris said, if Jaden or Willow show up in this, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm already done.
Only if she whips her hair around and hits herself in the face.
I'm so done with this. I'm glad I wasn't interested in checking this TV series out because now I've got even more of a reason not to.
Well, I'll give it a shot. I love TV, and I love Batman and that whole. It's a Gotham show. I gotta watch the first episode.
Yeah, it's on Fox to begin with, so it's already in trouble.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yep.
Oh wait. Yeah.
All right, so the last headline I have is there's going to be a Revenge original graphic novel published by Marvel Comics. Ron, are you still watching that show?
Yes.
Okay, I am too. Yeah.
I've never watched it, so you're going to have to fill me in a bit.
Okay, it is based on the Count of Monte Cristo.
Okay, that helps.
It is, yeah, it's a girl who her father was framed and murdered. And when she grows up, she goes back to this town where her father worked and everything, and all these people still are in the Hamptons. And she exacts revenge on them one by plotting their takedowns.
So it is full on Count of Monte Cristo.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Just with a female lead in a modern day setting.
Gotcha.
So it's a really good show. Yeah.
Now where it changes in. Entities, as far as I'm concerned, because Brant, got a hold of me earlier in the week and sent me the link to this and check this out. Because what he just described, which is the setup of the story, works extremely well for television. It's a great evening drama, and it's a twisted soap opera, if nothing else. Like, is the best way to describe it. All right. The kicker is this. During the course of the last couple of seasons, as Brant and I both know, there have been sequences where she had to get physical with people. Mm-hmm. All right? I mean, she just can't just do, simple bank manipulations or use the press or whatever. Every now and then she's literally had to take people down.
Right.
Well, swords.
Yeah, well, what we eventually learn is that while growing up in foster care, in whatever, and being a juvenile delinquent and all this, she ultimately changed identities with another girl in this juvie hall. And then when they left, she went and traveled to learn martial arts from this guy in Japan.
Yeah.
So she's like this female Batman to that point, all right?
Yeah.
So again, this isn't showing all that much. This is a very little bit about the physicality of the character. More of it's supposedly in the head and how she plots her revenge and all this good stuff. But we have seen a few bits of what we call, like what you would even consider graphic violence to that point. Well, here we go. The writers in ABC obviously sat back and said, well, let's do a graphic novel. Well, you can't have a graphic novel a la the TV show because then it's going to be all talking heads.
Right.
But the writers go, well, let's show her education in the martial arts and how she learned from these masters and plotted her revenge as a young woman. Mm-hmm. And that's the core of the graphic novel. And that works.
Yeah, so basically we were getting Revenge Year One.
Right. Which is cool. That way we can keep it finite,
Exactly.
Hold on for a tangent here, but
sure.
why always do women have two swords?
I don't know.
Have you noticed that any time, with the possible exception of Psylocke or whatever, that women are always pulling two knives, two swords, two scythes, whatever. They're pulling two guns. They're always pulling two weapons out at once.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Being someone with a little tiny bit of sword training and fencing training, you would never do that. But it's great visually, to like whip out the two knives or the two guns or the two whatever. But why is that? I wonder from a writing standpoint, or whatever. Why whip out two weapons?
It's basically, John. I think it's to say they're kick-ass. I really think it's that concept of lethal women. You know what I'm saying? That they're twice as deadly as the male.
That's a good point.
From personal experience, I'd buy that.
Well, yeah, I mean, my wife won't let me teach her to fight with swords, but yeah, I'm sure that if I gave her one, she would want another one. But
I could see that visually. Yeah, that's interesting. Though. Now I'm going to be watching for that.
I can see it from the visual aspect completely. You know,
Right,
it's
right,
really
because-
cool to like pull two out of your back or pull two off your hip or whatever.
I mean, let's go back to alley-oop. I mean, ultimately, man approaches conflict with a much greater physicality.
Right.
And a much more, frontal approach. That this is how I take a challenge. And in all our mythos, throughout the centuries and cultures, that's always been the case. Whereas women are smaller of stature, need an advantage. But what's more brutal than some pissed off chick with two sharp knives?
Yeah, hence the second sword, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because rarely do you see a man wield even two guns at the same time.
Exactly.
It's rare. It's rare. You see it, obviously.
Yeah.
But, it's pretty rare. It's usually one guy with a gun, holding it with both hands, I suppose, sometimes, or, like the lightsaber didn't come till later that people started using two, or earlier, if you want to be technical. But, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, go back to the comic, iconographs in Elektra.
Yeah.
I mean, then we see Elektra. She's got two swords across her back.
Two sides, right
Yeah,
immediately.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, it makes sense then, I guess. It just always struck me as odd, and especially in this picture. Since I knew
that's
a little
one
bit
thing.
about
That's one thing. I'm intrigued by the idea of the graphic novel, but like I had told Brand earlier when we were talking about, I wished it would have provided us with more shots of the interior pages.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Although I love that cover. It reminds me, John, you'll remember this. It reminds me of the Daughters of the Dragon miniseries.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it did have that Colleen.
Colleen Wing. Yeah.
Idea about it because the white jumpsuit or the all white suit and.
Oh, and just to tag this along with other comic stuff that John and that Brand and I know. The young lady who plays Emily, the lead in Revenge, is the young lady playing Sharon Carter in the new Captain America movie.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yes.
Chris?
He's got nothing.
You still with us?
I got the. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
He's having dessert.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's eating dessert. He's on to his third meal now.
All right, so with the news done, that means it's time for something we haven't done in a while. Facebook shout-outs. And,
Play the music.
yeah. And, yeah. Ron gets the honor this week, so take it away, Ron.
All right, hey, and how this gentleman found us, who knows? But we're tickle pink that he did. Okay, always glad to have shout-outs, and always glad to have new people listening into the show. So hey, welcome to Jacob Ferry. I'll make that up. Jacob lives in South John, New Brunswick. Went to St. Stephen High School in New Brunswick. Is the chief executive officer, head senior writer, and head of public relations for Wendigo Comics. How about that? He does it all.
Nice.
All right. Listen on his Facebook page. He's also a sports nut. Likes the Dallas Cowboys, the Indianapolis Colts, and something called Element Skateboarding. Maybe somebody knows what that's all about. I'm in a
You
loss.
only skateboard when it's really, really bad outside.
There you go.
Okay.
Like thunderstorms and tornadoes and
Okay.
stuff
Wow.
like that.
Skateboard down the luge track at the Olympics.
That's right.
For music, Jacob likes the double clicks, and the Facebook listings like this, but I think this is podcasts that he likes. And I think Double Clicks, Geektastic, and Comic Talk 616. And now, obviously, he's going to be adding Zone 4 to that. like. So thanks, Jacob. He also likes Radio of Honor, Expired Comics, Titan Cosplay, Comic Book Cast, Geeks versus Nerds, and funny stuff. So there you go. Mr. Jacob Ferry, welcome to the Zone 4 Loyal Listeners crew. Glad to have you aboard. And hey, Brant, how can other people join the fun?
I'm glad you asked, Ron.
I'm glad I did too.
All you have to do, and it's been a while since I've said this, so I hope I get it all out there. But all you have to do is head over to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Zone4Podcast, hit the like button, and eventually sometime we will give you a shout out on the show. So
there you go.
But to anyone else, we will have none of that funny stuff, young man.
All right. So pretty cool. Facebook shout out. So with that, it's topic time.
Topic time.
It's topic time.
Topic time.
And again, something we haven't done in a while. And this actually came out
It's like old home week when the captain comes back.
I know, man.
But this issue actually came out a couple weeks ago. But we are talking about the latest issue of Mark Waid's Green Hornet, which is issue number 9. And this is, of course, published by Dynamite Entertainment. If you have not listened, we've reviewed every single issue of this book on this podcast.
Yes.
Some more pleasantly than others.
Yes, definitely. There was a time.
There was a time not long ago.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, for a company that last year was publishing, 6 Green Hornet titles, they're down to 1 now, I think. I think this is it.
Yeah, I think so. I think
That's all the Hornet you're going to get until they hire you, Ron.
I keep telling them that, but they just won't listen. It's just...
What happened to that petition?
Yeah.
Look.
Ran out of paper.
Hey, I have some news if you guys really want to hear.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. In all sincerity, folks, okay? Because people out there, friends, fans, and all that good stuff, really started suggesting and pushing that I approach somebody at Dynamite about the possibilities of writing a new Green Hornet series that would take off from where I left that saga, my Green Hornet Legacy series at Now Comics. So what basically happened was a good friend of mine got me the email address to the owner of Dynamite Comics. And I wrote him a letter, a very short letter of inquiry, very, and as professional as I can make it, basically explaining this, idea that had been presented to me by some fans, and that I was actually, intrigued about the possibilities and wanted to know if they might be. So I sent that off. Nick Barucci is the gentleman's name, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so the very next morning, I woke up and he answered. A very professional and very polite answer to the effect of thanking me for contacting them. He said he was forwarding my letter and idea to the managing editor at Dynamite Comics, who runs the show, and is in the trenches, the guy who knows what their plans for the future are with the character and whatever.
Right.
And so basically ended with saying, again, thanks for reaching out and contacting us, and signed it, Nick Barucci. So I was very, very happy. It was a really nice professional response, which I appreciated greatly. And who knows? It's sitting on this gentleman's desk right now. And I know enough about this business and how busy Dynamite is. They're very successful.
Sure.
It would probably be a week, 2 weeks, even longer before I'd get some kind of response. But they have the idea, and hopefully they're going to look at it. I'll keep you posted as to what happens.
Very cool. Yeah. Awesome. I hope it does work out.
That would be wild to be back on that character after
Yeah.
25 years, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome, though.
Yeah, especially to pick up. Again, that's the idea. It would be literally to look at that series. I do my homework. I basically have to sit down and reread all the old Green Hornet scripts that I wrote for Now, and, whip out a legal pad and a pencil and paper and start doing dates of where these characters were when I left them 25 years later. Where are they now, I played in my head, guys, and have talked, with a few of my friends here at Fort Collins, and I know who the Green Hornet today would be from that family. And from that point on, it was like I was getting like ideas like popcorn, because I know who his Kato would be and stuff like that. So, fingers crossed, I get a chance to do this.
Very, very cool. Yeah. All right. So until that does happen, we do have Mark Waid still. So that's different take, but still good take. And
it's a very good take.
Yeah.
Yes,
it is. So do we want to go around the? We'll start with Chris this time, actually, and we'll just give basic thoughts, and then we'll kind of expound on it from there. So, Chris, what do you think of this issue? Okay, we'll start with John.
Chris has left the...
Yeah.
Well, there was a lot to like about this, and then there was one thing that I had a real problem with. Well, two things I had a real problem with. First, this was I really liked the cover. I really liked the walking against the crowd thing, the kind of going his own path sort of thing that implies. That was really good. I will say that I was actually genuinely shocked that, spoilers for anyone who hasn't read it, but that the cop kind of killed his wife there. And this was obviously a set-up issue. I mean, it definitely has the feel of this is the beginning of a story. This is the beginning of our next big arc sort of thing. There's still parts of it tying up the older stuff, but, this had the feeling of this. There's something coming up, definitely. I do like the inclusion of the lady whose name just left out of my head. And I think it was all...
Oh, what do you mean? Lenore?
Lenore, maybe? Yeah.
Yeah, Lenore Case.
Okay.
That's his secretary.
Lenore Case, yeah, that's right.
His confidant, right.
Yeah, I lost your name for a minute. I was trying to scroll and find it at the same time as talking about it, and I wasn't being very successful. But I really liked that. I thought, all in all, it was a really great story. I had a real problem with the final image. And not because he was crying. I thought the crying was completely appropriate and all that. But the biting the bottom lip thing is completely...
At least I'm not alone there. Thank you.
Ruined it for me.
Thank
you. It just completely took me right out of the story. I mean, I know it was the final panel and the end of the story, but it just completely took me right out of the story.
Yeah, I appreciated what they were going for there.
Right.
And I can...
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, if I can overlook the art there, I get it, and I like it. But yeah, that the art in that panel just it did pull me out too. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I was saying, I have no problem at all with the concept that he would cry and be upset, especially finding finding out what the guy had done and everything, and what the game that he's playing now has actually affected an innocent, essentially. The whole game that he's playing, that he is a bad guy, and he's, a criminal, and that he was playing with the policeman, that game, more or less, I won't say it caused him to murder his wife, but you could say that it was kind of a secondary attribute to him murdering his wife.
Did he murder his wife, or did she commit suicide?
Yeah, I think
committed suicide.
Yeah, she did it.
She shot herself.
To me it looked like it was a murder, though.
Well, towards the end of
in the
book,
beginning it looked like it.
Yeah, it did. But towards the end, spoiler alert, everybody.
It was a suicide.
Yeah, he mentioned how when he told her that he turned down the money.
Yeah, I'm just not sure.
That she.
No, but.
Well, he said that, it kind of showed that her pointing the gun at herself, so.
Yeah. but I don't know.
It's a convoluted. It's a twisted, convoluted story, guys.
It is.
And
I have doubt.
Good. Finish it up, John. Because
no, I was just going to say I have doubt. I mean, I completely buy her killing herself, and all that, to not, quote-unquote, be a burden.
I could buy it either way, yeah.
Yeah, and, honestly, with the struggle there, showing the struggle there, and showing her shooting herself, I have reasonable doubt, or I have irreasonable doubt, I guess.
Okay.
Look, I'm reading this thing, and from a writer's perspective,
Mm-hmm.
You start reading it, and it's like Mark's really, really stacking the deck, all right, instead of letting it happen, all right. I have a feeling that I'm being manipulated badly.
That's what I was saying.
Gotcha.
No, because Lenore gets calls the house after his wife's dead. Minutes after she's dead. Come on, okay? That's so melodramatic. It reeks to me.
Did you guys?
That's a little too convenient.
Not to interrupt, but did you guys see the remake of The Fog with Thomas Jane?
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, you mean Tom Welling, The Fog?
Yeah.
No, Tom Jane.
No, Tom Jane.
Oh,
Was it
okay.
The Fog?
I saw the Tom.
No, it wasn't The Fog.
The Fog was Tom Welling.
The Mist.
The Mist. Thank you.
The Fog was Tom Welling. By the way, it's great to hear you guys again. You guys were roboting on my end for the past 5 minutes.
Sorry about that. But yeah, The Mist.
I have dessert. Anyways,
The Mist, just real quick.
The Mist was by Stephen King, based on a Stephen King novella, but Frank Darabont changed the ending.
Yeah, and the ending was basically like that, where
Exactly.
Yeah, they kill each other.
Does something awful, and then it's not necessary.
Yeah.
The point. That's what I said. There was this feeling in the plot, the way that comes, minutes after, Lenore's trying to get to him, so that, honest to God, I'm reading it, and then the next time we see the cop and he approaches the Green Hornet, he's totally rotten. Mm-hmm. All right, here, I brought some more guys here that want to be on the tape. And I'm going, well, wait a minute. That wasn't a real strong, hard battle of conscience from the guy we knew a couple issues ago.
True.
All right? He seemed to turn so fast, it was like putting a light bulb on and off. All right? And no offense, but the way he did that in that last scene in the issue, I lost any sympathy for him at all. And maybe his wife killing herself was to get rid, not to be with him. Because again, remember what he does after she kills herself.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
What's in a fucking dumpster in the ocean? Jeez.
Right. That's why I have doubt. That's where my doubt is.
Right. Okay. So again, none of these people are who they're supposed to be. Right. Which again, I'm really not happy about. And the truth of the matter is, again, up until we get to that point in the story, I want to slap, Reed across the side of the head and say, grow a pair. Okay? Stop being Mr. Wimpy here, wussy, and, they died, it's part of my bullshit. All right? People are in charge of their own lives and their own actions and what they do. You can tempt somebody, you can offer them a bribe, you can do all kinds of things like that. But ultimately, free will, you decide whether you're going to do right or wrong. And like I said, the chameleon aspects of this cop, by the end of it, I think we're seeing his true colors. His wife's dead. He cavalierly dumps her body. All right.
He even says nobody's gonna miss her now that she's gone. Nobody even thought about it. It's like, wow, really?
He's got the guys in to get some grief money, and then Reed goes off in the men's room to cry. I looked at that last panel, and no offense, all right, but even one tear would have been out of place as far as I'm concerned. All right, I could have accepted it, but that is so badly drawn.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The editor should never have accepted that last panel. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
okay?
We're all in agreement there.
He looks like a 6-year-old spoiled little kid who's had his candy taken away.
Exactly.
No, I don't care how much despair you're in. No man, no male bites his bottom lip when he cries.
And has streams of water running down his nose.
And streams of water. Even if he was in despair, throwing your knees on the ground, holding your arms out, and screaming no to the heavens. No man bites the bottom lip when they cry.
I cried like that. I was kicked in the nuts in the 4th grade.
Exactly. But there was that. And
yeah.
see, that's why I doubt what the guy is saying, because if it was a suicide, why dump her?
True. And it could be
too many questions.
Yeah, it could be that
he is a cop. I mean, he could say, it's a suicide. Come and get her.
Yeah.
Put her in the ground. Done.
Yeah, it could be that he killed her and then had remorse and then
so.
made up the story that she killed herself. Yeah, you're right.
I think so. I think that's the way it's going.
Right.
Because if it's not, then I have to think what Ron is thinking, that Mark has pulled one of the worst melodrama cliches in the world.
Yeah. That's true.
So I'm trying to give Mark, as someone who respects his writing, a bit of shadow of doubt here that he's not going to go for such a trite cliche like that.
Yeah, hopefully not, because honestly, and I was kind of hesitant to admit this because I don't know what it says about me, but when they did the pan out and showed that full page of him standing there with her dead and him holding the gun and that face holding the phone, I laughed out loud. I was like, what the heck?
I saw that last page and I'm like, am I reading Green Hornet still, or did they mix the books up?
Yeah, I mean, because it's so trite. It's such a first-year writer sort of thing,
And look, okay, I mean, we talked about this when we started, we started on the topic. Of all the stuff that Mark has done, all right, in his career, and all of us have read a great deal of his work. We're all fans of it, all right? This is by far the sketchiest of all. I mean, it literally goes up and down like a bloody roller coaster.
True.
I mean, he writes brilliant issues, ties things together, and then we get a turkey like this. It's just like, what the hell?
I don't know. It's like, okay, this month he's focusing on the last issue of Daredevil. That's why.
Maybe.
I don't know. It's weird.
It's probably gotten to the point where he's writing too much and he's phoning something in there.
No, I can't. Yeah.
No,
and to be honest, up until that stupid last panel, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, I have liked the art on this book a great deal.
Yeah.
Oh, me too.
The period pieces, the costuming, the cars, they're all authentic. They're extremely clear, well defined. I see that stupid last page, and like I said, I'm sorry, but the editor here just dropped this ball, okay? There's no way I could have ever accepted that and put that out there for comic fans today. God.
I don't know.
I mean, no offense, but My Little Pony's got more balls than that last panel did. Jeez.
Nice.
I mean, I did have a few little things, like where his female assistant says you're terrible.
Mm-hmm.
To the car driving away.
Yeah.
With her arms crossed, and if it wasn't for the smoke there, you could almost see her stomping her foot.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he didn't leave dishes in the sink. He just admitted to bribing a cop. So there are there's a lot that I like about this, and then there's a lot that confuses me greatly.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So like Ron said, it's like peaks and valleys with this series.
Yeah.
It started off on a peak, then hit a valley, then hit a peak, and now it's back in the valley.
Now that I'm looking at it again, I'm seeing a lot more cliches pop up, like the FBI guy yelling at the local cop.
Yeah.
Oh, that was awful.
And, cop making fun of his Boston accent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, so it's starting to feel a little more cliche-laden as I go along here.
Like being phoned in. It's like Brand said, he's busy with Daredevil.
Yeah.
Or like we speculated last time this hit a valley that maybe there's some kind of editorial influence here, saying, throw in an FBI agent, something like that. Who knows?
Yeah, the FBI agent's kind of nebbishy, like if you remember the Untouchables,
mm-hmm.
the accountant guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what he reminded me of, Dustin Hoffman in Midnight Cowboy.
Oh, that too, yeah.
Ratso Rizzo.
So I don't know. I mean,
buy this comic at your own risk.
Yeah,
Don't take any responsibility.
It's like, as a series overall, I have to say, get it, it's good.
Yeah.
As a series, but then, individual issues, I have to go, you may not want to invest too much of your time into that one.
Yeah, I would say the trades are worth having, but there's going to be
times
a couple issues, where you got to get through them to get to the good stuff again.
Read it while you're eating or something, so you can divide your attention.
and please, if the managing editor of Dynamite is listening,
do not listen to this.
Please, okay, I'm being honest here, guys, okay?
We have a gun to his back.
If you're decent enough to even contact me, you will get just honesty. I tell you that right up front, all right?
We have a gun to his back. He's saying what we're making him say. He really wanted to say it was great.
I love this book. I think this book is awesome.
No, in all honesty, that's the thing, though. It pains us to say this because we're fans of some of the stuff that Dynamite does, and we're fans of Mark Waid, and we're fans of this character. So, when we're critical, it's just because, we care so much. So
we care, yeah.
Right. Exactly.
If we wouldn't say crap if we didn't care.
Exactly. And look, hey, if you're buying the book, all right, if you're a loyal fan of the series and you're buying it and listening to our show, thank you, and have a differing opinion, write and let us know.
Yeah.
Tell us why. Tell us how you're interpreting what we're talking about. Obviously, somebody else could have a whole different perspective.
Yeah.
Tell us why we're insane and we're not even reading it correctly.
There you go. Right.
And once again, we'll extend this invite. Mark, if you're out there listening,
anytime, buddy.
Yeah, you can feel free to come on, contact us, come on the show, and talk to us about it. So,
I'd like to agree with you on Man of Steel.
Yeah, Chris definitely agrees with you on Man of Steel. Yeah.
100%.
Oh.
We're not going there.
We just did, so it's too late.
Yeah, we're not going any further there then.
Yeah, we're going back.
I'm not. Yeah, no, I'm not. We'll go back, yeah.
Oh, shoot. All right, so, yeah, we'll be back.
Snap!
We'll be back in a few weeks with issue 10, though. We're going to keep reading it for now. We'll
keep doing it until it hurts too much.
Yeah.
I'll be reviewing it. I've been reviewing it also, so.
Yeah. So, hopefully it hits a peak and we're happy again, but yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Hopefully this is the valley.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so I guess that's going to take us to the ending of the show where we go around the table and see what everybody has coming up, coming out, and going on. And, Chris, you want to start?
Oh, definitely. Lots and lots of new things coming out of Comic Frontline. I don't want to step on feet because I know, Brent, you will probably have a few things you want to mention on Comic Frontline, so I'm just going to graze over things I'm doing and what we did last night. Last night, which actually it's 2 nights ago now when this goes live, on Wednesday we did our first Media Madness. It was awesome. Of course, none of us agree with Kat's opinions on Ghostbusters, but that's beside the point. It was really fun.
She's young.
Yeah, she's young.
She's young.
So naive.
That's my line. What are you doing?
No, John, watch the show. She made us all feel like we were, old. Really old.
The special effects were pretty bad.
Yeah,
she's like, oh, look at the special effects.
It was the 1980s. Give it a little bit of a break. My problem was that Bill Murray only got this little bit of Marshmallow Man on his outfit. Everybody else was red.
I know.
That's been my whole problem with that movie since I was a kid.
Yeah. And that was probably in his contract.
Yeah, it probably was in his contract.
I wouldn't doubt that.
I always thought that Pete just got lucky and he found some place to hide, and everybody else kind of got screwed. That's why everybody else was soaked.
I'm always looking for a conspiracy.
Oh, hey,
but it was
my vague recollections of the film, gentlemen. Isn't he the one who early got slimed?
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
He probably said, no marshmallows. All right? I did my part.
I would have rather taken the marshmallows.
I know.
Yeah, I would have too. But we had a nice 3-hour live sitting. We're going to be doing it again next week, and it's going to probably go from a weekly, bi-weekly, depending on how our schedules are. Mm-hmm. It was fun. Everybody who came had a good time, and we're looking forward to future stuff. Next week, I believe we're doing Teen Wolf, and then after that, we're going to Aliens.
Yeah,
and then after that...
Can I interject real quick?
Yes. Yeah, please.
Ron, we're introducing Chris to the MTV series Teen Wolf.
Oh, all right.
So
there you go.
So it's gonna
that
be
was
fun.
the whole precipice of Media Madness.
Exactly.
We forced Kat to watch Ghostbusters, and she gets to pick stuff for us to watch too. And then it just became a rotating. Everybody picks something, whether it be from TV or movies, and we just go around.
All right. Yeah, I'm enjoying.
I'm on if you watch Buckaroo Banzai.
Yeah, Teen Wolf's been really good this season. Yes.
Yeah. Excellent.
All right, go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
Other than that, it's just regular. We have Trash Pack Time, which went up today, which is yesterday for when this goes live. Two toy reviews are going to be going up soon. I made a couple of orders for some special stuff, which should be at my house sometime next week. So just lots of new stuff coming on, and lots of comic reviews. And hopefully when Brant figures stuff out, and I'm not going to step on his feet with this, we'll have the Hall of Toys special on probably YouTube sometime soon, covering all the stuff from Toy Fair.
Yeah, I'll mention it when it gets to me.
Okay. And that's really all I have so far. I've been subbing for 3 weeks straight now, so my work, at least for right now, is very limited. But I'm looking towards next week already, and when I get back to a regular schedule, I'll have a couple more videos, a couple more things to work on.
Cool. All right, Ron?
Okay. Again, we were talking about how busy I've been the last few weeks. Excuse me. We're getting close to releasing Mr. Jigsaw number 12. Hopefully she'll be out in maybe another week. When it is, I'll be posting it online and letting everybody know they can pick up a copy of it. If those of you old enough to remember a TV series called Gilligan's Island, well, this issue of Mr. Jigsaw is our homage to Gilligan's Island. So you have to check it out to see it. It's called The Pirates of Perchance, I believe. The group
head in the hole and fix the minnow.
There you go. we call our ship the Guppy, by the way. So
the Guppy.
Anyway, and when you see it, the cameos and everybody that pops up, it's Jiggy ends up playing Little Buddy and all.
Of course,
stuff. Yeah. Of course, right. All right. At the same time, we're getting to the start of March, and just for the folks who live here locally, the Fort Collins Coffee Comics Clutch breakfast is March the 1st at Jason's Deli down on Harmony Street. And as I was telling the guys before the show started, we've actually are putting on the first ever one-day comic show here in Fort Collins, Colorado. And those of you who are listening to this live anywhere in the area, surrounding area, it's going to take place on April the 19th, a Saturday, between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. at the Drake Center, again located in the middle of town. And it's being hosted and put on by the students at CSU here in Fort Collins. And hopefully there's probably going to be about 16 writers and artists here as guests. So it looks like it's going to be a real fun show. It's something we've been wanting to do for a long, long time. So you'll be hearing me talk a whole lot more about that as we get close to it. And finally, I am wrapping up personally my second collection of Brother Bones, the Undead Avenger, my pulp character. And we hope to have that in production and released maybe in a couple of months. So, again, busy, always a lot of things to do. And really happy to be back on the show, guys. So, okay.
Awesome. Okay, John?
And speaking of one-day Comic-Cons, I'm still working hard on my wife's one-day Comic-Con called the River City Comic Expo. Today I just sent out a bunch of personal invitations to creators in the local area. I'll be doing that over the next couple of days and weeks. If you are anywhere within the sound of my voice and can make your way to Louisville, Kentucky fairly easily, on May 10th from 10 to 6, we are putting on the area's only, and I would dare say the country's only completely for charity comic convention since Denver screwed it up. So, there will be none of those hassles here. All the proceeds from table sales, the silent auction, and other activities such as writing your name in Braille on specially designed bookmarks that we're having made up, and a bunch of other things. I'll go to a charity called Fund for the Eyes, which provides assistance and materials to the blind and visually impaired young people from birth up to until about age 21 of the Louisville and Jefferson County area, providing things like technology, materials to help them navigate both physically and socially and emotionally the way through their lives. So, really good charity that I got pulled into by osmosis. And we're really excited about the con. So if you're interested, you don't just have to be a comic creator. I'm opening it up to anyone who pretty much does anything genre related, be it steampunk fantasy, sculpting, thingamabob making, whatever you do. If you can convince me that it falls somewhere within the comic, superhero, sci-fi, fantasy, horror, whatever genre, I bet you I'll sell you a table. So go check out the Facebook page and you must remember the whole Facebook thing. It's River City Comic Expo Louisville. Because apparently other towns have rivers and cities and comics expos in them. So make sure you put Louisville on the end of it, otherwise you might get one in Nebraska or something like that. And honestly, who wants to go to Nebraska? And sorry to anyone who's listening in Nebraska. Yes. That was just a joke. And for myself, now that the arm is back to nowhere near fighting shape, but at least talking smack shape, I have begun to color again. Right now I am coloring some Ursula pages for my longtime buddy Bill Nichols. And, as my arm repairs, I'll get more back into other stuff. So that's about it for me.
Cool. All right, Zone 4, proponents of making thingamabobs.
Yeah, that's right. If you can make a thingamabob, give me a call.
There you go. All right, for me, a few things. First of all, going off of what Chris said, so I'll just go ahead and get all Zone 4 stuff out of the way. We are doing a special episode of Hall of Toys on Toy Fair, which took place this week. It was Sunday through Wednesday, so all kinds of new toys and collectibles have come out, so we'll be doing that. And I just looked at the space we have on our account, so it probably will be able to go up as a podcast, but it will definitely also be on Comic Frontline, of course, in video form. So we'll see. We're still working it out. We'll talk about it after the show. The Walking Dead Extra, we have decided not to do another one of those until the end of this current season. So just
the series gets better.
After getting a glimpse of certain things in this last episode, I very much agree.
Yeah. So, it was partially that and partially scheduling as well. So, but yeah, we're gonna hold off.
I have one thing really funny. It's Zone 4 related.
Okay.
Brett, I bought the Zone 4 shirt, which you can get on. Right now it's still Dark Avenger Inc., but it will be changing to Comic Frontline's spread shirt. Mm-hmm. I've worn it a total of 6 times over the past 2 or 3 weeks. I've had it, whether it be going shopping or work. It's been about 2 times I wore it to work. Every time, either I get a comment on the back of the shirt, which is obviously the intro to this awesome podcast, or I get the question, what is Zone 4? Because obviously, a lot of people in New York, they don't do the podcast listening, I guess, stuff. So you got to actually tell them forwardly where to go.
They probably think it's Soho or something like that.
A few people thought it was something off of the Twilight Zone. I said, no, not at all. And I would tell them it's a comic podcast. You can get it on your iPods. You can get it on iTunes or anything. And actually, one or two people actually went and pulled out their iPhones, which I still don't have my own, and looked up Zone 4 and actually said, I'm going to check this out.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
So
There you go. All right.
Two people did that, and that was when one person did it when I was shopping, and one person was at work because they like to follow. One of my kids' parents is into art, and her friends are into the comic book arts. So she definitely said she was passing Zone 4 as well as Comic Frontline along to her friends. So I was wearing the Zone 4 shirt that day. A lot of people like it, and it definitely catches eyes. You know, Comic Frontline caught eyes, but my Zone 4 shirt, every time I wear it, there's at least one or two people that it catches their eye. So, guys, if you want some really spiffy Zone 4 stuff, I would highly recommend the red shirt. It's awesome. It's also the only shirt. I don't know why I said it in color.
And when you sign up, if you got the information from Chris, make sure you tell us Chris sent you.
Yeah.
And we'll forgive you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
No, but seriously, if you are that person that he's talking about, thank you.
yeah, thank you, and sign up so we can chat you out.
Exactly.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Like us on Facebook.
Right.
All right. So also, another Zone 4 connection, and I don't know what I can say about it or whatever, but I am actually flatting some pages for an avid Zone 4 listener, Larry N. Young, which you guys know from the CR forums, comments a lot on our stuff, and I'm doing some flatting for him. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. He's a good buddy.
Yeah.
Very, very good friend. Yes. Excellent.
And let's see, was there anything else that I needed to mention right away? Working on some other stuff. New comic day every Wednesday, because Eric will kill me if I don't mention that.
Will you stop saying that? That's like your catchphrase now.
I know.
New comic, because Eric will kill me. Eric,
That's the
either
last of
kill
all
him
dead.
or throw a Wookiee at him.
That's
You
the
just
last
don't know how psycho Eric is.
That Wookiee's real, Chris. I'm telling
He will actually kill.
you. Yeah.
If you don't say his name at least once a week.
But no, new comic day. It's great. We got this Doom arc going on, and some fun stuff. So we just got thrown out of Doom's castle, as a matter of fact, this week. So yeah, I think
It's been painful.
it was. So, there you go. Comicday.net.
It's fine. I know you hear me. That's the main important thing. And I'm deadlier than Eric. I have swords and claws.
Yeah, only because you don't wash that shirt every time you wear it. That's the only thing.
And I have dirty shirts.
Deadly by smell.
Deadly by smell. Death by stinky.
I'll send you Michael for a week.
Okay, and was there anything else I needed to mention, Chris, that you can think of? No? Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think so, unless you're doing some special toy review or you're actually going to buy some toys finally.
We'll get
G.I. Joe.
I know. It is G.I. Joe's 30th anniversary, or 50th anniversary this year, so who knows.
G.I. Joe's 50th, Ghostbusters 30th, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 30th, and there's something else that's 30th.
And 75th.
Transformers.
Hey, then Hasbro, Kenner, and whoever else should be sending us some stuff.
Exactly.
They mentioned a lot of stuff for Batman and Transformers because of the movie. They're not doing anything. And G.I. Joe, they have slideshows. No molds, just slideshows.
We'll get to all that on Hall of Toys, though.
Yeah. And DC, send us some of those new Batman animated action.
Yes, please.
And we'll review them for you.
We will.
Well, gladly.
Absolutely, yeah.
Totally.
I'll review them from my shelf and go.
And we'll even lie.
Yeah. We'll even say how nice they are.
Yes.
All right, so that is going to wrap us up. So, Ron, you want to take us out?
Sure enough. Hey, we'd like to thank our sponsors once again, Audible.com. Go to audibletrial.com/Zone4Podcast for a free 30-day trial and a book download. We'd like to thank the official bands of Zone 4, the Ray Wall Band and Society's Plague, that you hear on the show each and every week. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions for us or other people, send them to us at zone4@comicrelated.com. We are also a proud member of the Comic Related Podcast Network. And as always, hey, thanks for listening. You are now leaving Zone 4.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye!
All right, Chris is ready, so I'm gonna add him.
All right, cool.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Chris Ventura.
There we go. Hello.
Hey, Chris.
Of course you would call me as I'm putting a piece of crab in my mouth. I'm thinking, okay, Brand's going to take a couple of seconds. Let me just reach over and take a bite.
You know me. It's always inopportune times.
That's okay, but if I move away from the mic like this, it's because I'm eating my dinner.
Oh.
Right. That's cool.
It's a good thing I'm not, because I'm having soup tonight, and all you'd be hearing is slur, slur, slur.
Was it last week? I think it was last week I was eating my supper during the show, and you could definitely tell. It's like, that trailer looked really good. Does anybody have, this last question and we'll get started, does anybody have any Audible suggestions this week?
No. Yeah. I was hoping to do some of that today, but I got caught up like we were talking, when we first hooked up.
Right.
My schedule's been crazy. I get into my office around 9 o'clock in the morning, and I don't leave here till 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Gotcha.
Yep.
All right, somebody give me a topic, and I'll just look up something random on Audible.
Do classics. Last of the Mohicans, Moby Dick.
Okay.
For all you guys still in school who need to turn in a book report, and you don't want to read the actual book.
Work.
You don't know how I would have loved to have Audible when I was in high school.
I'm sure.
That would have been really nice. Let somebody else read it to you.
That's a perfect new solution.
Oh, you got some too, John? Okay, cool.
Yeah, we can both do some.
All right, cool.
I was about to say Audible's that's a perfect slogan. Why read it when somebody else can?
And read it
for you.
Nice.
Well, that was like, what was it? Oh, God, I don't know if you guys have caught the new Jimmy Fallon show, the Tonight Show. He's the host now, right?
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
And he had Jerry Seinfeld on, and Seinfeld come out and did this whole bit on cell phones, on smartphones, and how once they invented the smartphone, they made it so that you didn't have to talk.
That's true.
Yep.
Yeah, well, why should you have to talk? You can text. He says, think about it for a minute, all right? He says, then he's like ragging on the post office. He says, I'm tired of the post office. He says, look, why don't I just go down, give them permission, and when my mail comes in, they can open it and text it to me.
Nice. That is kind of odd. I mean, this is a total sidetrack, and we haven't even got started yet. But it's kind of funny that phone technology went right back to writing.
Yeah, that's the point that he was getting at, right? He said, oh, heaven forbid I got to talk. I'll get out of breath, and oh my God, I got to hear you talk, and I got to put in an inflection so that you understand my meaning. And he goes, that's just tiresome, God.
Can you imagine what Alexander Graham Bell's thinking? I've been in this technology and you do this?
Invent a phone so we can text. Oh, yeah. There you go. The human race.
Yeah, maybe eventually we'll get to the point where we'll be able to do this podcast by texting.
Sure. There you go, Josh. Hashtag.
We'll just put it up on YouTube with text scrolling across.
Yeah. We can still do it in voice. We can do it in text voice. It would, sound like 4 different Stephen Hawkings arguing with each other, but
This trailer looked really good.
No, it didn't. Who's the man? Who's the man?
Chris, you ignorant slut.
Well, this is totally going in the
That's
other.
what Cindy says.
And welcome back to The Zone. I'm Brant Fowler.
I'm John Wilson. Somebody didn't read the agenda.
Every week.
Oh, I thought Ron went next.
No.
Ron is always
I'm
last.
used to going last. I'm used to going last.
All right, we're
Ron
doing
is not always last.
Not be stealing my position. All right? What is this? I always go fast.
Okay, one more time. Chris,
Chris,
you're
you
starting.
ignorant slut.
All right. And I just realized that I need to plug something in at the beginning of the show now, because I totally forgot to mention the other podcast network that we're part of.
Oh, God.
Outtakes. There you go.
This has been a Gonzo Goose production.